Okay, so Steve, we've been going over the figures and we really need to increase the sales for the next quarter or jobs will be at risk. What's your plan, Steve? Steve.
Yeah.
You know what, Steve? You're fired.
Brilliant, cool.
Thanks, Des, and here's the headlines. It's 8 months to the day since sim racer Steve Worrell went missing. Searches do continue, but some are beginning to question whether his wife has even checked the garage. Some have said that that's the first place that they'd check, especially if that's where he keeps his sim rig. But if she'd just opened her eyes for once, then all of this would have been...
It's good. It's really good. Don't ever try a direct drive wheel. Don't make the same mistake that I've made. I tried the Fanatec DD1 at BMW Sim Live in 2019, and ever since then I've wanted a direct drive wheel, and quite simply, once you've tried direct drive, you're never going to want to drive anything else. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my CSL Elite. I've had hundreds if not thousands of hours of use out of that thing. It's been rock solid for me, but the first time you take a car out using a direct drive wheel, you just know instantly that there's something better out there. I wish I turned down that demo because I'd have been able to convince myself that it can't be that much better, but I'm sorry to tell you, it is. So let's get price out the way. The DD2 comes in at €1,499 and 99 cents. And that's honestly the reason why I've never owned a direct drive wheel. They can tend to be quite expensive and I can't really justify the cost, and arguably still can't. So I just want to take a second to thank Fanatec for sending through this sample of this DD2 for us to review. Now, whichever way you cut it, €1,500 is a lot of money for just one piece of your sim racing puzzle, but boy oh boy, I think it's worth it, and I'm going to tell you why. But what I'm not going to do is talk to you about all the specifications, about how many Newton meters of torque it outputs and what an outrunner motor is and why it's a good thing that all the electronics are internal. There's great reviews out there already from Sim Racing Garage and Boosted Media, and honestly we're a little bit late to the party in reviewing this product anyway, so I'm going to leave it to those guys, and honestly I have no idea about that stuff, so I'm not even going to try and blag it. But what I am going to do is tell you about all the things that I do like and the things I don't like and how it makes me feel. Okay, one of the things I was really worried about was getting this thing set up because I've had a lot of bad things about direct drive and how long they take to actually configure, so I was dreading having to do all of that investigation. But honestly, it couldn't have gone smoother. I followed the instructions, plugged everything in the way that it said it should be done, and yeah, it worked. I opened the Fanatec software, it was there, it looked like it was up to date. So I loaded up ACC and sure enough, it was working straight out the box. And I thought I'll try with rFactor 2 because in the past I've had a few troubles trying to get the right configuration for rFactor 2, but again, absolutely no problems whatsoever. So it seems to work straight out of the box, which is a massive plus. Fanatec advertised this product as plug and play, and for me at least it was, and honestly I was delighted with that. I would take an easy setup every day of the week over, say, another couple of Newton meters of torque or some other fancy feature that other direct drive wheels might offer. Okay, so let's talk about the design and build of the DD2. Not only is it built like a tank and it weighs a ton, but it looks gorgeous too. Personally, I'm a massive fan of the way the Fanatec gear looks. It's nice and minimalistic, really elegant, and they let the raw materials do the talking, like the all aluminium construction of the DD2, and of course the real carbon fibre on this Formula V2 rim. It would be such a shame to cover that beautiful carbon fibre up with some gaudy stickers. Hey, Paul Glover.
Tacky shit.
No, but seriously, this thing really does feel well built, and that point about it weighing an absolute ton, well, you're going to need something really sturdy to put this in, a decent, strong rig, because the forces that this thing will put out, it's not going to be clamping to any desks. But you can tell Fanatec believe in this product because they include a 5-year warranty, which is honestly a nice peace of mind for such a costly investment. Something that I like is the wireless connection from the wheelbase to the wheel. Now, Fanatec lists this in their key features, but I actually don't have another direct drive wheel to compare it to, so I can't actually tell you if it's a problem or not having a USB cable flapping about. But if you're using a direct drive wheel with that situation, let us know which wheel you're using in the comments and if it is indeed a problem. Now, on the subject of configurations and settings, I want to talk about the OLED screen on the wheelbase. If you saw my McLaren GT3 wheel review, you'd have seen me say that that screen on the wheel makes things so much easier to navigate through the menus, and while that's still true of course, the screen on this takes things to a whole new level of convenience that I'd only ever dreamed of.
That is easy.
Alright, maybe I didn't dream about it, but it's really handy having that large display. Everything laid out nice and neatly. You can really see the difference between the different setups, and it makes it easy for configuring for the different sims. So you might have setup 1 being R-Factor 2 and setup 2 being ACC and so on. One thing I wish they could do differently though is name the profiles. I don't want to have to remember which one setup 1 is and which one setup 3 is. If I could just rename them as R-Factor 2 or ACC or Race Room, whatever, that would make things a lot easier. But I'm not going to complain too hard because it is a massive improvement over anything else. One last thing about configurations, this wheelbase is both forwards and backwards compatible, meaning that it will work with anything in the current Fanatec lineup and anything that's likely to come in the future, like that BMW GT3 wheel that they've been talking about recently.
That wheel is so pointless. It's not like any of us have actually got a GT3 car to put it in. Why would any of us need that functionality?
You don't. It's just cool, right? Damn. So how does it drive, I hear you ask? Well, if you hadn't guessed already, I think it's amazing. It's just the level of detail that you get through the wheel. It's insane. Every curb, every bump and every slide, you just feel it instantly with just such an incredible amount of precision. And like I said right at the beginning, if you're not the person that's going to drop over $1,000 on a wheelbase, don't ever try this because you'll just be wishing for this level of communication through your current wheelbase, and frankly, you're not going to get it. My trusty CSL Elite wheelbase is good, really good, but it just feels a little dull compared to something like this. But I could buy 4 CSL Elite wheelbases for the price of one of these, so this is going to be better. But why is it so much better? Well, for me, it's that level of detail that I was telling you about. It just makes me so much more consistent. Knowing that every time I hit that bump or that curb, it's going to be the same result, and you've got so much more chance of catching those slides. Just enables me to drive with so much more confidence. And honestly, it's opened up a new set of cars for me, cars that I never really used to enjoy driving, like this, the 2019 version of the Porsche in ACC. I could never get a tune out of this car for love nor money, but now I can really feel like I'm connecting with it, which is great because I love the Porsche. On the other hand, it can reveal some rather challenging aspects of other cars and tracks, and a good example of that would be this, the R-Factor 2 version of Sebring. Now, I know that this track is bumpy, but this is like trying to learn the track from scratch all over again because, as you can see, every bump in just incredible detail. And guys, there is a learning curve with this piece of kit, so don't expect to just unbox it and get it on your rig and expect to jump into your next league race with no practice. This is taking a couple of hours to get used to, but once you do get used to it, it's fantastic. And the question that I always see being asked, does a direct drive wheel make you quicker? Well, yes.
Actually, it's been proven over and over again that expensive equipment doesn't make you any faster.
I know, and I agree, and I wouldn't say that the DD2 is making me quicker over the course of a lap so much, but something that has made me improve is my consistency. Anyone that's raced with me will know that I've got a mistake in me. Even if I'm not under any pressure, I'll find a way to ruin my race. But with this, you don't have the luxury to relax. You have to be as precise and detailed with your inputs as it's being with you. So yeah, this over the course of a race will make me a lot more consistent and probably save me about 10, 15, 20 seconds of mistakes that I would have made on my old wheels. So yeah, for me, it's making me quicker. So that's it, the Fanatec DD2. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time testing this one, and honestly, it's going to be really difficult giving this back to Fanatec. But if you're in the market for a direct drive wheel, definitely add this to the list of products to consider, because honestly, it is amazing. Thank you again to Fanatec for allowing us to test it and try it out. But that's it from me. Please like and subscribe, and from next time it will be Mr. Paul Jeffrey again, but it's been an absolute pleasure making these videos, and maybe I'll catch you again soon. Cheers.